recording with retired Lieutenant Colonel and author Berney Flowers on Sunday, March 5th, 2023 at 5:04 p.m. Eastern Time, episode 1124 about and gracias to Berney for doing this on short notice. I texted him on my drive home, not while driving, all stopped. My mom's watching this. That is the truth. About doing this, and he's had patience as I've moved this around. It's just been a hectic day, but I wanted to talk about an article I saw on Friday before I went up and visited my parents about Air Mobility Command removing tail numbers, and is that a sign of a preparation of war? Berney, could you please introduce yourself as I start posting the live link, because I'm wildly out of my element today.
No, you're not, Tommy. First of all, this is Berney Flowers. I've been on here before. Tommy has been gracious about having me on, and I enjoy talking about the military. I enjoy talking about the government, about politics, and he is nice enough to allow me to do so. And so, again, I ran for Congress a little while back ago. I wrote a book called Black Values Matter. Spent 34 years behind the fence, either in uniform or outside the uniform, doing things for Uncle Sam. And so I've got a little bit of background in the United States Air Force and how they do business.
And author of Black Values Matter, which is in the description, as is your website. Also, are you running again?
We'll see. Honestly, if I can raise enough money for the book, from the book, I may run again, because the thing is that I want to be clean if I do ever run again, because, a lot of times when politicians, they start with the greatest of intentions, and then some donor comes along, gives them a little bit of change, a little bit of influence, and now they are owned. Corruption is a big problem for me, and that's part of our system, and we need to clean that up. So my hope is to be able to raise enough money from the book to not have to beg for money from some donor.
I got all the live links posted. I am.
Amen.
You're seeing how the sausage is made. I normally come in here well prepared, calm, cool, collected. Unlike today, where I'm running. I got out of the shower about 30 seconds before I called Berney. Threw on a shirt.
TMI.
Hey, no. The people need it. The people need to know. So yeah. But about Air Mobility Command, that's something I don't even know about. Whenever I find something about the DoD, which I don't know about, I like to read up on a little, like Defense Logistics Agency, or whatever, Pentagon Security Forces, or the NSA's CSS. Like, I just always enjoy finding like a new acronym or department I've never heard of. It's just like a fun little treasure trove. I just dive down and I'm like, what is this? So with that, could you, and so I glanced at it for like all of 5 minutes last night, what Air Mobility Command is. What is just like your unclassified 101 for dummies? What is Air Mobility Command? And why should we give half a shit about them removing a tail number?
Air Mobility Command, United States Air Force, Air Mobility Command, headquarters in O'Fallon, Illinois. Been there a few times. The issue of the day is somebody has to keep track of all of our transport and tanker aircraft. So when you talk about C-130s, KC-135s, if it's got a C in front of it, it's cargo. If it's got a KC in front of it, the name it's a tanker. But the idea is there's an entire fleet of tankers and cargo aircraft that give us the ability to have worldwide global mobility and take our people and get them there pretty much in a hurry if we need to, and defend our assets. And so that's run out of O'Fallon, Illinois, Scott Air Force Base. There's a 4-star general there. And, each one of these aircraft are capable of moving a lot of gear, a lot of cargo. A lot of them are specialized with very different things. But again, mobility is the thing that gives our military our lethality. Say an F-16, it's got a certain range, and you can go drop bombs, but once you run out of gas, you run out of gas. What happens is they send up a tanker, a KC-135, let's just say, and position that tanker in a place where it can link up with that F-16, refuel it in the air. Then the aircraft can drop its bombs, do the things it needs to do, link up with the tanker again, get some gas, and head on home. So that's kind of generally how it works. But
Okay.
Air Mobility Command does a lot. They allow us to have a global presence, and nobody else has anything close to it.
Okay. So, as an armchair general, 4 stars. The importance in this would be like we're looking at Ukraine, Russia, and although there's some air, and again, this is just my window of a microscope of an understanding, is that it seems to be mostly ground, almost World War One-ish, just artillery meat grinder, and a full-on air support war. Well, one, it kind of seems like you have to be has to be asymmetric, right? It's us in Afghanistan, us in Iraq, us in the 90s, or for Yugoslavia or Serbia or whatever it was. Okay, Vietnam. It would seem that we are gearing up to either get involved in this, or you would want this because you are going against a near peer competitor, i.e., Russia and or China, who have formidable air forces, bombers, stealth bombers, supersonic fighter aircraft, all that good stuff. That is what the because people always post stuff and they have for like the last 15 years. You see it on Reddit. It's I saw a train with tanks moving on it today, or were they moving towards Marshall? Well, they just move that stuff all year round through every. It's always on the move. They're just always training. This seems a
Certain.
little different. Is that correct, or am I just taking
It's
any fear
unusual.
porn?
Well, the thing is that it's not fear porn. There's different ways of looking at it. I spent a long time behind the fence, a long time in the United States Air Force, and from the very beginnings of aviation, there was always, you know, markings on aircraft to indicate where they came from, who they belong to, that sort of thing. Now, it could be totally benign. You know, um, the bottom line is that aircraft have a what they call a squawk, a transponder. Everyone that goes in the air, at least American aircraft, and what it does is identify that aircraft to the tower so it can be tracked. So when you're seeing an aircraft go across the sky, it's not alone. That pilot's not by himself. He's talking to somebody at some tower somewhere, and they're tracking him, and they're expecting him to get back or her to a certain location at a certain time. And somebody's tracking everything we got in the air. So why do we need these paint schemes anymore? I mean, maybe they could save some money, but by not painting these aircraft. And another thing to take a look at is, if you're in the military, especially if you're anywhere near combat, you're going to be able to recognize silhouettes of aircraft. You got some binoculars. It's very important that you see what's above you. And, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be able to look at an American aircraft from a very long way, and it's friendly. You look at a Russian aircraft from a long way, they have certain design characteristics. It's not friendly, and so on. Same thing with the Chinese, even though they copy everything that we do. But the issue of the day is there are some positive things that could come from removing the tail numbers and that sort of thing. And, there's electronics that are capturing what those aircraft are. However, there's also another side. And there could be some nefarious things going on. For example, there are a lot of people that make a hobby of tracking aircraft. They literally sit out on runways outside a military base and with binoculars and they're just take an idea of tracking aircraft, see where they're going, then they call their buddy up wherever and see where it ended up, and it's fun for them.
Yeah.
But it also gives civilians an opportunity to see military movements. So if you want to stop people from seeing military movements, that would be a good way to do it. You would make it harder, but not impossible to track aircraft. If I may go on.
Yeah, no, please do.
There's other things. I used to be in the what they call the OPSEC business, operation security. And me and my crew of misfits, we went all over the world, literally helping bases to defend themselves. And part of that was, helping people define and protect their aircraft, helping people defend and protect their electronic emanations. We talked a little bit about SIGINT, MASINT, ELINT, those sorts of things. And those are the kinds of things that we were in the business of protecting because, every electronic device has a signature. Every vehicle has a signature. And if you can capture that signature, you can capture that vehicle. So, maybe this thing is a positive and benign thing. And maybe technology has come to a point where we don't need the paint anymore. However, there is another side. And I will be quiet for a little
No,
while
no,
and
no,
let you
no, no.
talk.
You will do no such thing. You will keep going.
Okay. Well, don't let me dominate the
I'm having
conversation.
you on here as you are my subject matter expert. This is one of the few
And your
occasions where
buddy.
I and my buddy. But this is one of the few occasions where I shut up and don't love the sound of my voice. I'm all this isn't just for the listeners. I'm learning right now.
All right. Well, scrubbing tail numbers and paint schemes that's kind of unusual. Now, here's what bothers me. The four-star general at U.S. Transportation Command, Air Mobility Command, his name is General Minahan, Mike Minahan, and he sent a memo out to his service members warning them to be prepared for a war against China. It's coming in 2025. Now, as I remember, we're supposed to be in the deterrence business, and egging on your near peer competitor is probably not a good deal. That's like football when you put out bulletin board material against the team you're about to play against. We shouldn't be in the business of, in my opinion, rattling the war drums. That is not cool. And coming from a four-star general, that is very, very unusual. And a lot of people in AMC, a huge organization, were a little bit upset about that. I mean, you got people flying C-130s, KC-135s, aircraft that deliver fuel, deliver goods, keep us sustained. These people are in remote locations and flying all over the world. And you're telling them to get ready for China. And he just said some very, very weird things that were unexpected from a four-star general. Now, the general, is he trying to start a war? Aren't we supposed to be in the deterrence business? China has nukes, remember? War is supposed to be your last resort. And remember, I always say, beware the military-industrial complex, because war is the most profitable thing on the planet. So he sends out his email blast to his roughly, let's say 30,000 people or something all over the world, kind of upset things. And I heard about it. I still got friends still in the military. And they're like, what the heck is this guy doing? That is not how a four-star general is supposed to carry himself out. So laying out a timeline, not good. If we were going to war with China, you certainly wouldn't say anything about it. And then another stupid thing he said, and this is from me, from my background, he told them to, let's see, I'm gonna read a quote to you. He said he wanted you to, quote unquote, lethality matters. When you can kill your enemy, every part of your life is better. Your food tastes better. Your marriage is stronger. We are lethal. We do not apologize for it. A pile of our enemies, our nation's enemies dead. The pile is the biggest in front of the United States Air Force. This guy flies transport and cargo aircraft. Okay, why is he talking like he's Genghis Khan? That sounds a little weird to me. And as far as shooting and stuff, he's talking about, shoot people in the head. Well, anybody that's been on a rifle range know you go for center mass. So a pilot shouldn't be talking about such things, especially a senior pilot who probably hasn't flown an aircraft in 10 years. So with all that said, there's just a lot of weird things coming out of his mouth. And I'm not going to just put the guy down, but rattling the war drums are not what a four-star general is supposed to be doing. And, democracy and diplomacy are still the preferred path. And that's what we're supposed to be in the business of, democracy, diplomacy, and deterrence. That's why we spend all this money, so we can stay safe. And throwing back and forth bombs with Taiwan is not going to help anyone. Win, lose, or draw, nobody wins that. So did I answer any questions?
You did. When did he make those statements about prepare for war by 2020? Because I've heard that one before. And then
Yeah,
the kind of saber
it was
rattling.
right around the first of February.
All
I
right,
think it was the
so
last day of. Yeah, this is relatively new,
okay. Well, I guess
so
my
that kind of unnerves.
yeah, the reason I
Go
asked that
ahead.
is so today's Sunday, March 5th. So we're looking at first of 27, 33 days later, although relatively
Yeah,
new in the realm of being reprimanded, that would be something where had the current administration and not even to make it partisan, but whatever, just the military command structure had that not either been and this is just my own kind of examining it off the top of my head, if it was either sanctioned, or B, they like it. It's some form of psychological warfare that we're not actually whatever, just some Sun Tzu, whatever bullshit. If it's been 33 days, although in the news cycle or the history cycle, that's a blink of an eye in terms of like getting smacked across the face for stepping out of the party line. That's a lifetime. 33 days and he hasn't been sacked. He hasn't been, do you get what I'm saying?
Very odd. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So it's clearly been
And
allowed.
to address that, there is a Navy admiral who used to be commander of Indo-Pacific Command, Philip Davidson. He was the 25th commander, and he said something similar. Quote, hearing that China could invade Taiwan this decade, in fact, in the next 6 years. He got himself retired pretty quickly saying that. And
When did he say
so
that?
with him, his name was Admiral Philip Davidson.
And when?
And I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was this past fall. But he got himself retired.
All
But
right.
the other thing is, Admiral Minahan says this. I mean, General Minahan, and he doesn't get retired. It's been a month and nobody says anything to him, and it's just kind of weird. And Admiral Gilday, I don't know if you know him, Chief of Naval Operations. I once worked with him at Cybercom back when he was a 2-star. And he said something to the Atlantic Council. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them, but they're a big, think tank. You should follow them. But I've been there a couple of times, a lot of big wigs hanging out, planning on, how we're going to divide up the world and that sort of thing. But they have a public website and it's very much available, great information. But he said something to the effect of, we're effectively signaling is what we have no idea. I'm sure that we understand just how damaging those words are. So, there has been some discord at the 4-star rank level. So, it's kind of odd. But yeah, you're right. I think that normally when a 4-star says something this jarring, he gets snatched up and gets fired. I mean, you've seen people get fired for sexual harassment like yesterday, and all kinds of things like that. And so this guy is able to say something like that and doesn't suffer any repercussions so far. So it's very unusual. And, it makes people nervous, especially those that are going to have to go down range. So it's, the good general, he's going to be sitting at a desk if anything goes down, and there's going to be somebody else's child that's going to have to go execute the war plans of the United States. And so you got to be very careful about that. It unnerves the soldiers and sailors and airmen, Marines, but it also unnerves the general populace, unnerves politicians, loose lips sink ships, that sort of thing. So why he would say something like that, don't know, but it seems odd.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing it kind of comes back to, in my mind, I guess, one of two things. It's either sanctioned, and then you could branch off sanctioning. It's because we are gonna go to war with China, and we want to start putting that out into the public, consciousness 24 months beforehand. Or B, it's some form of just psyop. It's look over here while we're doing this. And then the other option would be that it's not sanctioned, and those two sub-sanctions, but political favoritism. I mean, at that level, it is, right. Again, from what little I know, it's very political. Once you get to the admiral, 4-star secretary, that it's just politics. It's nothing to do with anything below that. It's not, if I could say, it's not merit. It's very much so politics. It's slimy. It's shitty. Is this guy buddied up to someone in the current administration? Was the previous guy not? Is there is this a Trump guy that they're making an example of? Is this new guy I don't know.
There's a whole lot of ifs, but I got another
Yeah.
story to tell you that you might find
Yeah.
curious and interesting.
Go for
So
it.
here I am. Remember, I spent 20 years in the Air Force. I spent 10 years on a flight line. I got a little bit of tinnitus that, gives me a little bit of disability from me. So I kind of, been around there, been there, done that, been around aviation for a long time, done a lot of things. But there's a story, a rumor. So just let's couch this a little bit. Let's just imagine that you took all the tail numbers off these transport aircraft, And so you couldn't, as a civilian, tell where they were going and what they were doing unless you had specialized equipment monitoring that squawk box or the transponder. So those guys sitting on the end of the runway, the hobbyists that are tracking these aircraft, they got no way to do it anymore. So in my background, I heard this rumor. Nancy Pelosi and people like her, VIPs, specifically, and this again is rumor. She used to take a congressional junket to Italy every year, take her whole family on modified aircraft. The Air Force has a fleet of modified KC-135, no, change that, KC-10s, big, monstrous DC-10 aircraft, outfitted with stewardesses, just like a regular commercial airplane. And they fly DVs. And so imagine, I'm just saying this is rumor, unsubstantiated, but imagine if Nancy Pelosi and her whole family got on one of those modified KC-10s and flew off to Italy and had a wonderful family vacation. And they did that for like 10 years in a row at U.S. Air Force expense. And so I heard through rumor and unsubstantiated rumor that Trump found out about it. And one of the first things he did when he got into office was to put a cancel on that. And maybe through unsubstantiated rumor, that's why Nancy Pelosi hated him so much, because he cut out all those fancy DV trips. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but it is a rumor among those who are in the United States Air Force. And I knew that those aircraft existed when I was in the Air Force. So if you took the tail numbers off those aircraft, it'd be awfully hard to track. You need an expert, somebody that really knew what they were doing in order to track those DV flights and congressional junkets and all that sort of thing.
Now, do they have the same paint job, that kind of grayish thingy?
They do, but if they don't have tail numbers, you don't know where that aircraft is coming from. You don't know where the aircraft is going. And so unless you have electronic equipment to track it, or you've got the tower frequency, you probably aren't going to be able to track that aircraft, especially if it's going overseas.
Sure. But
so go ahead.
Any nation state that wanted to know where Nancy Pelosi is would still be able to, because they would absolutely have the ability to do the squawk box. And this is just me playing devil's advocate. And Biden's been in office for 2 years, 1 month, and a couple weeks, right? He by now probably would have reversed any Trump shit right? Just logically, I would say he probably would have reversed.
Well, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that program has stopped. I'm saying that one of the things that Trump did specifically, despite her, was to shut down her family trip.
No, I know, I remember that, and I think he had it shut down as they were boarding or some shit, or he waited till they were on. No, I remember that story, but I don't know.
There's a whole lot of things that could come from this, but back to the war thing, that's ugly, because you really, really, really don't want to give your enemy any reason to think that you're girding for war, because they're going to do the same thing. Now, on the other hand, let's just say you say something like this, and the military industrial complex, who's in the business of building C-17s and 130s and such, there's a lot of money to be made. A lot of money to be made from fear. So it's not really good business, and having been around, senior officials in and outside the military, is just not a good practice to talk like this. Not good at all.
Not good for rational, peace-loving people like ourselves, but we do have to come back down to reality and remember that we are and have been run by a military-industrial complex for at least 60 years and arguably 100 years, if not more. Yeah, this would be, could this be a form of probing? We're always probing each other's airspaces. What's the response time? Could this be a form of probing? If we say we're gearing for war, are we now watching on satellites? How does China or Russia prepare for this? Just what little deviations in the day-to-day space view of those enemy countries, what does us saying and disseminated through media to look like genuine journalism, what little shift do they do? Maybe we don't know where their mobility command is centered, or maybe we think they don't have one, but we notice something all of a sudden is happening at some what we thought was a civilian airbase outside of Shanghai or something.
We very well could be probing. And the thing is that with these big aircraft, they're watching us from their satellites,
Yeah,
and we're watching them. So the issue of the day is that, how is this going to affect our relations when we get so much of our manufactured goods from China? So, why are we, this war thing would be bad for both sides, win, lose, or draw.
yeah.
So there must be some financial advantage somewhere. I just haven't, looked into it. I'm hearing rumor from some of my old buddies back in the day, and they're like, what in the world's going on? Why are we doing this? And these are relatively senior people, colonels, lieutenant colonels, squadron commanders, those kinds of people. And they do not understand why the good general would say such a thing and alert the force like this, telling these young pups that a lot of them have never been overseas, and you're telling them that, expect a war in less than 2 years with a near peer competitor who has nuclear weapons. Not smart.
I also kind of view it as, again, if it gets down to me, Tommy, in my slippers playing video games, if I'm read in via public journalism that these tail numbers are removed, it's like when someone's like, you should get into crypto. By the time someone's telling me, first of all, if anyone's ever telling you to get into something, it's because they're going to benefit from it, unless, of course, it's like a family member. That's fucked. By the time I know that there's a hot stock, that stock has peaked weeks ago. By the time I'm hearing about Bitcoin is years after it was an actual viable investment. That's just kind of how right? I'm in the podcasting space. Now, if I start to see changes in podcasting, very subtle things, I can probably trust my gut because this is what I do all day, every day. But by the time I'm getting like a general piece of information, it's late and there's a reason why I've got it. So the fact that like I am read into this just makes me think that whatever it isn't what I'm looking at. Is it to see people's abilities to, follow a squawk box, or what civilian, capabilities to look at ELINT or SIGINT, or there's something. There's a reason we're doing this, because if I really want to prepare for war, whoever's going to track it's going to track it. Whichever nation state's going to track it, it's just going to track it anyway. I'm not worried about civilians. If I want to prepare for war, I just wouldn't do anything different. Just go about my day instead of
Exactly. Don't
that's
change your
right,
routine at all.
right. That's me. That's me holding a gun. That's me concealed carrying in downtown versus me walking into the bathroom, putting on leather gloves, wiping it down in oil, putting a silencer on it and a mask on, and flushing my ID. Hey Tom, what you
Yeah.
doing? It's kind of weird you're at that bank right now. I wonder
Yeah.
what you're doing. Right? You know what I mean?
A lot of people are wondering what the good general is doing, and it just seems to be very, very counterproductive. But if patriot games are played sometimes,
Yeah,
and sometimes they're played on the general populace. Maybe they're trying to get us ready for something,
I think they
but
are.
this is very unusual.
My
A very unusual time. If I may, he
yeah,
said something. Let me read this to you, because I just pulled up. I wanted to be accurate on the quotes. He said he instructed airmen with weapons qualifications to fire a clip into a 7-meter target with full understanding that unrepentant lethality matters most. Aim for the head. And he also advised airmen to update their virtual record of emergency data, essentially their wills. And, people were shocked and surprised and like, what in the heck's going on out here? And more importantly, why would he tell people to aim for the head when you're supposed to shoot for center mass?
that makes me think this is a fucking psyop, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, he's riling people up for no
And
damn
he
reason.
wasn't removed immediately after, and it's been 33 days.
Yeah,
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 man,
hasn't
this is a
happened.
psyop. I don't know what the psyop is. That's a pretty big blanket, But
Yeah.
come on, this isn't what we think it is.
I've seen people escorted out of the building on the same day for less,
So that
all kinds of crazy stuff. See, I didn't
or
cuss.
or it could be, or it could be I think that the reason didn't all of Senate just vote for a full declassification of U.S. intel investigation into the origin of COVID-19? Wasn't that like the last week?
Yes, you are correct.
Happened very quietly. All right, this is what I think.
Yes.
Strap in the tinfoil, put on the tinfoil belt,
Uh-oh.
put on the tinfoil, buckle it in, put on the tinfoil oxygen mask, and let's launch off the tinfoil aircraft carrier. They've progressed from a USS Maine, Gulf of Tonkin, 9/11. We don't do the out and open one day shock and awe false flag. People have people are game to that now. We're trying a new false flag. We're doing the very slow motion train wreck, if you will, where years later it starts to come out that this could have been a Chinese bioweapon. Very slowly. You don't want to do it all at once because that's nuclear war. You want to bring it out slowly, as maybe China's starting to pair up with Russia because we're saving democracy, even though we're funding Nazis. Whatever. Don't look too deep into that. Right. But we're fighting the evil Russians who helped Trump and rigged the 2016 election, and China's now pairing up with them. Russia has to pair up with China. So it's all very slow motion where we're galvanizing all of the EU. We gotta, when Trump says you gotta pay your part, they all say this is racist. Biden, to his genius, comes in and says, well, it's supporting Ukraine. Now all of a sudden they're paying a lot more. I'll give credit where credit's due. It will slowly come out that China is behind this. As all these, and they'll be able to real conveniently wrap up all these vaccine injuries to say, well, this never would have happened had China not done this. We are decoupling ourselves and the rest of the world from China, from their manufacturing base. And now it'll be very easy to just lump China in with Russia and be like, look how quickly it was just to say Russians aren't people, Slava Ukraini. Give it 6 months and people will have the same Ukrainian flags and they'll have Chinese flag, stop buying Chinese, stop saying made in China. Again, hilariously, it'll be all these like Trump talking points, but rolled out under Biden, which is just, if this is Biden doing it, that's genius. And we are going to push them. No one's going to do nuclear war because no one profits off of it. But this is going to turn into, we are not only laying the groundwork for the US, but we're trying to just drip, drip, drop into the entire Western civilization that we all need to gear up and go against China. And it's going to be Ukraine. It's going to be gearing up in Taiwan. And it's probably just going to turn into Cold War Part 2. And if you're preparing for a 50-year Cold War, 2019 COVID till now, looking at 3 years, that's not a long, if that's the length of your initiation, that's not long at all. 3 years for a 50-year war, I would suspect that the entire PSYOP is probably going to last 5 years. If we're gearing up to be at war to where my grandkids see the fall of the Chinese wall instead of the Berlin Wall in 2079, yeah, 3-4 years. Yeah, this is exactly how you do it. And it's going to come out that all these train wrecks, all these food processing plants, it's going to conveniently come out that this was Russia and or China.
Well, you got to blame somebody. And
gotta blame somebody.
Our administration doesn't want to take blame or responsibility for anything.
I don't even want to put it on this administration, even though I don't like them. I'm just trying to look even bigger picture. It's the military industrial complex, man. Like, why would the beast stop feeding? It's been feeding for decades.
Forever.
Why would it?
Yes.
It just stops when we leave Kabul. It's just ended.
Find a new enemy and let's profit. Let's make some money.
It's just ended. Tom Brady just retired. Do you not think he's not going to now try to be the best commentator that there's ever been? He doesn't know how to not pursue a goal. He's not going to stop. The military industrial complex didn't leave Kabul and go, had a good run, boys. No, they probably left Kabul because they realized, hey, put down the fucking small fries. The main dish is coming. It's China.
Yeah. And how about this? I got a kid that needs to go to Harvard, so I need my check to keep coming.
And we know that if we keep letting China go, and we just kind of do this passive thing, that they're going to overtake us economically in 10, 15 years. There's going to be a brain drain to China as they become the new beacon. And then we are going to go out with a fizzle. So instead, we've got the most guns. Just fuck them up now. I'm not saying it's good. I just
Well, the weird thing though is why would the guy who drives transport aircraft
oh,
and
I mean,
and tank?
I don't know. He's in this idea under this umbrella of an idea. He's a cog inside of a Swiss watch, inside of a truck full of Swiss watches, which is on a tanker in part of a fleet. I don't know. We're going. You got to take a rip of the bong. We're going deep, Bernie. What are we doing? How are we setting up U.S. hegemony for the year 2080? This isn't small fry. This isn't let's go bomb a couple people in tents and
No.
outside of Iraq. No, no, no. We're going. We want that. We want those Reagan defense budgets. We want that. We want that good. We want the whole evil empire, multiple administrations. We need a couple Cuban Missile Crisis. We need an enemy. We need a new Red Dawn. There's got to be. They're gearing up for it. They're tired of this small fry shit. Serbia, Afghanistan, Iraq. Fuck that. They want a big one. A big one.
How much more money do they want? I mean,
Listen,
my
there
God,
is
how
no
many?
again, you and I are looking at this as rational people, not psychopaths. All right. But we have to put
Oh, okay.
ourselves, we have to, no, you and I
Yeah,
are like, why can't we all make money and have kids and have a wonderful society?
yeah,
That's not how they operate.
right.
Let's stop putting our heads in their
No,
heads. They're
there you go.
demons. They're demons. They're just demons from hell. Accept that and move on. They're gonna go forever. And do you really think that they're gonna let
Yeah.
do you really think that they were going to let China take over? They're looking at Trump and they're like, you idiot. You were saying the quiet part out loud. Of course, we're going to go to war with them. Shut up. We got a plan. It's like
We're all
2017.
going to get paid.
Yeah, you
We
see
want
him
to be billionaires.
they're pulling Trump by his hair into NORAD and they're putting him inside the skiff and they're going, look, in March 2022 or February 2022, we're going to goad Russians invading Ukraine. By 2025, we start an air campaign on China's, west or easternmost coast. Like, will you shut the fuck up with the China virus? No, that's ours. We're going to release it in Wuhan in 3 years. Just shut up. Just focus on Mexico. Keep saying your rapist shit. They've
Trump
been
didn't
playing.
play a game.
No, Trump didn't
That's
play
the
the game,
deal.
which is why they got out. He probably looked at it and was like, I'm going to avoid World War III, which is, I
Yeah.
guess, honorable, but they kicked him right the fuck out.
Yeah, they did. They sure did. And it looks like they're trying to do the same thing to Biden.
Yes, yes. He's not, they keep cycling. Because, no, they're going to keep Biden in.
Yeah, they got control of him. That's the way I see it.
Well, it's like he's finished. He's an old senile man. So they're like,
Mm-hmm.
they've got this stolen debit card or credit card. And it's like, dude, let's rack it up until they cancel it. They're going to run this guy into the ground. They're going to use the second term and they're just going to plow him into the ground. Or they're going to remove him before the next election and put in someone else. And they're going to say, Biden started this war in Ukraine. We don't want this. And it's a way to launder all fault.
Blame him for everything.
Yes. Why wouldn't they? Why
Yeah.
wouldn't they've got a corpse?
Yeah.
They have a corpse. Just
Weekend
animate
at Bernie's, bro.
Exactly. Weekend.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why I spell my name differently.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
Not EY, not EIIE, but EY, because I don't want to be associated with Bernie Sanders or that Weekend with Bernie's movie. It's like, dude, that's Biden's a corpse. He's a walking corpse, and his chief of staff is running everything.
Yeah. You're visiting another college town and you've got a fake ID and everyone thinks my name's Ralph. I'm gonna go flirt with every girl who is out of my league because when I leave this town, Ralph is dead. No one will ever know Tommy Carrigan went to Georgia. They think I'm Ralph from Florida State. I'm gonna go shoot my shot with every girl, and they're gonna look for my Facebook, and they're never gonna find Ralph. I'm gonna swipe this card until the fucking magnet melts off of it.
It wasn't me.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember that old song? It wasn't me.
Oh yeah, Shaggy. It wasn't me exactly. That's what they're doing.
There you go.
Biden.
There you
it
go.
wasn't me. But
wasn't me.
Yeah, we caught you laundering
What's
money.
my
It wasn't me. Yeah.
There's no aircraft. There's no tail number on that thing. There's no American flag. It wasn't me. But it looks like
Biden.
a C-130.
We are now looking at Biden, and we think he was senile. He gave that command to say swipe. And we, President Kamala. I don't condone that. What he did was unconstitutional, and it wasn't American. And we would like to apologize to the Russian people that was that commander in chief, and we now know that he was senile, and he's the one that. So we need to send $8 trillion of weapons to Taiwan. It wasn't us.
Yeah,
it was Biden.
It wasn't.
R.I.P. They'll pass him, and he'll be just gone.
Right. That's what I see. Weird times we're in, and we're just having fun, man. That's all you can do is roll with it.
That's all I'm doing, man. Just have fun, laugh. Ain't
Yeah.
nothing to do. And this isn't like a storm coming to your city and you maybe can do something where you can like board up the windows. Like if this
No.
is World War III, you can do your part, you can talk about it and try to get information out there. But I mean, this is so far. This isn't even like COVID where I can interview doctors. This is if this is World War III, this
Oh,
has
speaking
been
of doctors,
yeah,
I passed by Dr. Malone. I was at CPAC this past week, and guess who was there being interviewed? Dr.
Dr.
Malone.
Malone. Of course he was. He's
Yeah,
a
yeah, it was
superstar.
pretty cool.
He's a
He is a
superstar. He's
superstar.
everywhere. He's got the
A
best beard.
man.
He's got the best beard on the planet.
There you go. There you go.
He really
But
does.
yeah, man, weird times that we're in right now. And our military industrial complex, 1%, they're doing some very weird things. And in my 34 years of association with DOD, I have never seen a four-star general rattle a cage like that. Not cool. Four-star generals are not supposed to be talking about, hey, let's shoot somebody in the head and,
Yeah.
gather up your, no, not that's not done.
It's a psyop.
They're supposed to stay above the fray.
It's a psyop. Or
Crazy.
they're gonna fire him and still go do what they were gonna do with Air Mobility Command, and then they tell China, "Hey, we fired that loose cannon." That's what it's gonna
Keep a
be.
watch. Keep a watch, because I would venture to say that give him 30 days and he'll be gone. But ordinarily, he'd be gone immediately by saying something like that.
It's been 33 days, sir.
33 days.
You watch Origins of COVID. It's gonna time up perfectly with China and Russia. What announcing? I think last night a new
Yeah,
military a quote military technical partnership, whatever the fuck that means, whatever euphemism that is.
it ain't good for us.
They've already
I'll tell you
got
that.
they've already got most of the American people hating Russia. Anyone that has a brain realizes this is just another war for money, but they've got most of the people just screaming Slava Ukraini, just walking off the cliff.
Yeah.
This is a little tricky for them because they just spent 4 years of having Trump in office saying China's not our enemy. So they got to do a little 180. But the brainwashers are A, very good, and half the population is B, brain dead. So they're going to pull it off. It's going to take a couple months, but they're going to pincer them. They're going to blame COVID on them, and then they're going to say China is backing Russia and they're killing Ukrainian babies. By July, between July and October of this year, it's going to be full on talking point. We're not fearing a war with China.
Well,
Not happening
we
soon enough.
regular people aren't. I mean, regular people are the people at the top of the food chain. They'll be in some granite lined dome somewhere,
Oh no,
locked
they're
away with their
fine.
family.
Oh, they're fine. Again, Bernie, we're not talking about normal, God fearing, human loving people. We're talking about demons from hell. Yeah, no, it'll be the common talking point that we need a war with China because they're backing Russia and the whole world needs to kill itself in a nuclear holocaust because I guess Ukraine's the beacon of whatever.
How did we get to this point
Baby steps.
where four-star generals are all out rattling cages? Not good. Not good at all.
Yeah, man, this is 100%. I'm confident, and I have absolutely no reason for anyone to believe me. I should absolutely not be seen as a valid source. That's what it seems like, man. They're not. They are salivating. They are salivating. Russia and China are teaming up. Dude, we got a new Red Menace.
Yeah.
Fucking
And
sequels, baby. We don't need to write a new plot. It's the same shit.
a new way
So
to generate income.
it's a new Soviet Union.
It's like 1984.
Yeah,
Think
exactly.
about that move.
Yeah.
Think about that book. I got
Yes.
a copy of it back here.
Yeah.
The Eastern Alliance is supposedly
We've
always
always
at
been at
war.
war. We've always
Always
been
been
at
at
war with the
war.
communists.
Yeah. And there's actually no war at all.
Yeah.
But it's perceived. So everybody's afraid all the time.
Yeah, dude, we've always been at war.
Yes.
They don't even have to write a new plot. It's just a sequel.
If we're dumb enough to accept it, we're going to get taken for fools. That's what they're counting on.
No, they're gonna get away with it. They're
Yeah.
gonna run it for 50 years. It'll end with us using some sort of orbital weapon in 30 years, and we'll erase all of China. And then we'll have some time of peace. And then by the time anyone learns a lesson, there will be a new generation that is changing their profile pictures to whatever the fuck. I stand with Madagascar.
Well, let's just hope that sane people will catch on to what's going on and put a stop to this foolishness. That's what I'm trying to do. Got to fight the good fight, man.
You gotta know. You got no. You're right. You have to fight the good fight. You can't give up. But
I'm just as cynical as you are. Trust me.
it's been a minute since Eisenhower gave that speech, and I don't think we have made a fraction of a percent of progress.
No, not at all.
I think we've gotten I think we've slid backwards. Yeah, man.
Not good at all, man. Just, spending all this money and, the whole thing in Ohio with East Palestine. I mean, where I come from, FEMA was supposed to be on the yard within 12 hours. What happened? Well, and Pete Buttigieg, whatever. Did I pronounce that right?
I have no idea.
Yeah, absolute failure.
Yeah.
Absolute failure. At least though the Chicago mayor is gone. She'll be out of there pretty soon.
Lori,
Beetlejuice.
That old bitch, she's out. But yeah, man. No, Ohio's perfect because it's going to be that much worse when we can say China has poisoned our farmlands.
Yeah.
They're ruining our green initiative. They did this because they hate green power.
Yeah, apparently.
The people who have never addressed China's coal output or coal plants, it will now be a talking point. No one ever touched on the fact that Obama deported more illegal aliens than every other president prior to him.
Yeah.
But once it got to Trump, he's an evil man. Cages at the borders had been around since George Bush. All right. No one cared until Trump came in, and then no one cared again. Those cages are still there. No one cares when Biden's in. Make no mistake. It will be the forefront that China is not playing by the Paris Accords, even though they haven't been for administration after administration. They will now focus on that and say not only are they helping Russia, but they want to heat this planet up.
Yeah. In the meantime, we're buying our gear from them. Yeah. We continue to buy. You go to Walmart, try to find an American product. It all comes from China.
Yeah, we're gearing up to just destroy China. And then we're going to spend a couple decades making India the new China. And they're going to make all of our shit. Instead of made in China, it's going to be made in India. And then in 50 years, when they start to rise, we're going to nuke them.
It's terrible.
It's horrible. I'm not for this. I'm just telling you what is going to happen.
Oh, I get it, man. I get it. We got to fix this. And, we got to get the word out. And, your podcast, it reaches a lot of people. And I was literally, happy to. Dr. Malone didn't know me from Adam, but the fact that he was sitting there being interviewed, and he looked up at me as if he kind of recognized me because I know I've been on your podcast before. We didn't get a chance to talk, but it was just cool to see him, and there were just people buzzing around, and it was just nice, very nice. And CPAC was really cool. It's my first time there. Met some really, really cool people. Got a chance to take a picture with Dr. Ben Carson. Oh, cool. That was a highlight. That was really, really cool. And just a bunch of conservatives, not that, we were the best people in the world, but I felt very comfortable around people who thought like I did. And, sure. It was just nice. Had a great time.
Sure. Yeah. Dr. Malone's a cool cat.
Yes.
Well, Berney, we gotta wrap this shit up. I gotta get ready for the next one. I was not at CPAC. I was visiting my parents, and I think I ate about 5 pounds of pesto. So I'm gonna have to. My pants are a little tighter today.
That's okay.
I'm gonna have to really hit the gym. I had so much, Berney. I've had more carbs in the last 48 hours than I have since New Year's.
That's okay, man. That's okay. It's all good. You're 32 years old. You can burn that stuff off.
Not as easy as I used to.
You and some steel, brother. You and some steel.
Let's go. Berney Flowers. I love you, brother. Guys, book is in the description. Go follow him. Go buy the book.
Amen.
And Berney, thank you again for being ready and being available on such short notice, and for putting up with my complete lack of timeliness. Anytime, brother, for you. Thank you, my friend. Berney, I love you. Godspeed, everybody. Thank you, sir. Take care, everyone. Thank you for watching. Until next time. Peace.